Some folks talk about being a psychic, and some folks talk about being a medium. What's the difference?
Psychic readings, you basically use your intuition to tune in to somebody's energy, and you read the past, present, future. Mediumship is downloading spirit messages.
Gabrielle Bernstein, a role model for spiritual seekers.
Before we're born, we choose the lessons that we need to come in and work on. And what I have heard is most souls have anywhere between 2 to 5 lessons they're actively working on in any one lifetime. Okay? So for those of us who are more ambitious, we probably chose 5. But the point is these lessons give us opportunities and to grow, to evolve. And that's where I always say, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you if you're struggling.
Right.
If you're going through a challenge or a trauma that you're trying to heal, it is imbalanced karma, either from other lifetimes that you need to come and heal, or I also talk about it's passed down intergenerational.
Yeah.
Right? So
100%.
So you have this blueprint and you come in, and if you go with the flow and you're in alignment with your higher self's guidance, your team and spirit, life can be easy and fun, even though you're still doing the work. But for most of us, we have the ego.
Right.
And so we get stuck in ego, and then it's pain and struggle and suffering. That's where I like to remind people. So the minute you recognize that, you have the power to change it.
Right.
You can recreate.
You could also change it by even seeing it as a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
Seeing your life as a learning opportunity.
Change the lens through which you see it. You're not a victim. You actually chose this, right? It's not happening to you. It's happening for you.
Right.
And there's a gift in it if you choose to see it through that lens.
I remember that beautiful story Wayne Dyer shared in one of his books about how his soul chose to come back into this life to learn forgiveness and self-reliance. And I think it was self-reliance. I hope I'm not misquoting him, but it was the whole story about how his father, so he was born into this household, and his father was an alcoholic and, left the mother and, all this stuff. And through that journey with his father, he learned forgiveness. And he also, through living in all these different foster homes, learned that self-reliance. Yeah. His story was his soul chose this life to have all these horrific experiences as a child so that he could learn forgiveness and self-reliance and teach it.
So exactly. And so when you can recognize the why behind your struggle, it takes you out of victim and it puts you into a really empowered place where you can then be the co-creator of what comes next. So you can renegotiate if you don't like your soul contract and the way it's going, or your soul contract is fine. It's the choices you've been making in shadow, right? That have gotten you stuck or repeating patterns or in victim.
So you can have your soul contract, but you could be making choices in shadow, right? So choices in fear, I suppose, right? That are definitely probably keeping you from the growth.
Exactly.
And the life learning. Yeah.
So yes, sometimes we are our worst enemies. We get in our own way. And it's usually because we operate from our head and not our heart. And I always am told by spirit, our intuition, our guidance, our truth comes from our heart, not our head. So our feelings are our guidance. But so many of us have gotten out of touch with our feelings. And so we're making choices from fear or shadow, not light and love. And so the key is, how do you come back to your truth and really get in touch with why you're here? I have witnessed in thousands of readings, there's about 30 different universal themes you're working on, anywhere from greed and scarcity consciousness to kindness and generosity and self-worth and self-love. Like, there's a lot of them, but you can figure it out. And that is my book. My book gives you, it's like a roadmap to help you get in touch with what is it? What are the patterns you keep recreating? Where are you stuck in your life, right? A constant loop. And you're like, why is this happening to me? Or why isn't this happening for me? Right? It takes you out of victim when you step back and you can identify the struggle. And then you can figure out the feelings that go along with that. And then you can change it once you're clear. So I talk all about like the I am.
Yeah. First of all, this is so cool because people can actually take themselves out of victim from a therapeutic perspective, right?
Yeah. Stepping back and recognizing from a higher self or soul perspective, oh, so my issues with, money issues, let's say, it's not really about money. It's about worth. It's not financial worth. It's self-worth. And I don't feel worthy. Therefore, I always sabotage or I give all my money away. So when you can step back and say, oh, I signed up for this and I'm testing myself. And the lessons keep repeating themselves over and over until you figure it out.
Right. Until you figure it out. Now, I think I might have just realized one of my soul contracts. Is that right? Like, or assignments?
Absolutely.
You call it a soul contract or a soul assignment?
So they're life assignments, soul lessons. Assignment.
So one of my life assignments, I think I just figured out, is to really live in authentic truth, to know authentic truth.
I love it. That feels so right.
Because I've been in the pursuit of it for a long time.
But you've integrated it.
I've only integrated it like last week.
because no, it wasn't last week, but
no, but fully integrated it.
Okay, that
in areas it was there, but in
time.
some big areas it wasn't.
So it's because you had the courage to be vulnerable and go deep and share in this last book that I just finished, which is brilliant and so much overlap to what I just wrote in this What's Your Heaven book. That spirit is talking through many of us right now because it's all about being authentically you.
Right.
And unapologetically you and imperfectly you.
Right. And that's a nice phrase and it's a nice truth that we know and it's a nice, beautiful spiritual conversation in rooms that we may host and be in your authentic truth, be in your authentic truth. But I think a lot of people walk around wanting that, yearning for that, but have no idea what that means.
Yes.
And that it really rings true for me. I think that for my lifetime, I have been in pursuit of releasing all of the pretenses of who I thought I was or should be to come back to me.
Yes, you and I both. And wow, that's a big one because with most clients, the theme, and I dedicated a whole chapter to this in my book on worth, so many of us don't feel good enough or don't feel this enough, fun enough, smart enough, wealthy enough, successful, whatever it is. And the truth is we are enough for just being born. And it goes back to you are perfectly imperfect. And we don't need to pretend or wear masks, but we all do.
Right.
And so it's just really getting comfortable in your own skin and really leaning into what is my homework to do in this earth school? Because we all have it. And I always say, be glad you have it. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be here.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. So if we learn these assignments, we master these assignments in this lifetime, do we not come back as a human again?
So there's no one case fits all. So basically, you may choose, if you are that enlightened, you may choose to stay in spirit and continue to grow and evolve on the other side. And a lot of times those more evolved souls choose incarnated soul group members to guide. So they become spirit guides.
For specific people. Wow.
Or they will choose to reincarnate to balance and heal their unfinished business or karma. And so for the case with me, my grandmother, Babe, who died by suicide, when I was 10 years old. Fast forward 10 years later, I'm 20. I'm struggling with depression. And she comes to me. And that was my introduction to mediumship. I was in college studying advertising. And my dead grandma comes knocking saying, hey, I want to help you. Because she, instead of reincarnating, decided from the other side to become my spirit guide. But she didn't just die and all of a sudden become all-knowing. She had work to do to heal. And so she did her work. And then to balance and heal karma, she said, let me help you. And I was receptive because I was truly struggling. And it transformed my entire being over 18 months of, she gave me, that's the basis of my first book.
Yeah.
Mind, Body, Spirit, Do the Work.
Yeah.
And so I did it. And then she's like, oh, by the way, you're here to do this for other people.
Right.
Not, and so that's how that began. So that's an example of a soul who said, I have homework, because when we pass away, we pick up where we left off. So that's why I like to remind people.
So human passes away, they're in the spiritual realm. They pick up where they left off there?
Yes. So where you left off in life.
Yes.
With, your to-do list of your lessons and the choices you made.
Yep.
Whether you die naturally or you take your life, you pick up where you left off. You have to be accountable and continue to do the work.
In spirit or in the human form?
Either. So in the spirit world,
You'd have to do it through somebody else.
Well, so it's kind of like, okay, so we're in Earth School, and then let's say you fail to complete your karma and you have unfinished business.
Yeah.
You're going to go to summer school in the spirit world.
Okay.
Versus on vacation.
Okay.
Because and nobody's meant to get it right. Like, nobody's meant to do this perfectly or get it all done. That's the whole point of reincarnation.
Okay.
But it's your intention to show up and do and be better each time. That's and nobody's keeping score except you. And so when we pass away, we do a life review. And in that life review, we are playing judge and jury, but we do it with the help of our council of elders or our spirit guides.
Okay.
And then we're taking inventory of where we showed up. Have you ever seen Defending Your Life with Mel Brooks or Al Brooks?
No.
And Meryl Streep?
No.
Great movie. It illustrates, I mean, it's sensationalized for Hollywood, but it's a great movie, and it depicts the whole when you cross over, taking a life review, taking inventory, and deciding, do you want to reincarnate and come back and do it all over again and get it right this time? Or do you want to do your work in the spirit world? But it's always easier to come back and heal and balance the karma in the environment in which it was created. It's faster, it's easier, and that's why we would reincarnate.
Okay. Okay. So what happens if you're in the body as a human and you become enlightened?
So that is where you would either stay and continue. Like, I look at Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
He was enlightened.
Yeah.
And he was a master. He was a teacher. And he stayed on the planet for however many years as he was this spiritual being having the human experience with all of us. But he did his work. And he integrated, as we were just talking about, he walked his talk.
Yeah.
And then he became this amazing teacher and master for all of us until it was his time to transition.
Right.
So you can choose to stay for a period of time and do that, or you can, if you've mastered it and you feel complete, you can exit. And that's where an exit point or a death opportunity shows up.
Do you think Wayne is staying in the spiritual realm?
I have actually had dreams of him, and I've read some of his family members, and he is definitely still in spirit, according to my connection with him. Whether or not he's going to reincarnate, I don't know.
So what I heard from him was that he's in spirit and he's working through those who want to speak on behalf of the light.
Okay. That just gave me the chills, because that is what I texted you the other day.
What did you text me?
I said to you, he came to me in a meditation along with my dad.
Yeah.
And he's been coming. And that's why you and I picked back up after a few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're using us, as amongst many, as messengers.
That's correct.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He said that to me. Maybe I was on stage or was doing Dear Gabby or something. And I was channeling for somebody. And it was like, okay, he's here. And he's saying, I'm working to... Oh, no, it was in my writing. It was in my journaling.
I love that.
He said, I'm going to work with those who are going to speak on behalf of the light. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that man. And I'm so honored. Man.
Okay, so we are here. We're having these human experiences, but we're spirits having a human experience. Can you unpack that? Because I believe that. I know that. But I want to hear that from you.
Yeah. So everything is energy, just vibrating at different speeds, whether you're physically focused in a body or you're in spirit. Right? Energy doesn't die. It just changes form. So here we are. We have this amazing gift of being alive, and our soul or our spirit is here in our body, and we're all part of the divine. Mm-hmm. That is the I am presence in us, right? And so we are here to actualize that higher self or that I am presence in everything we do.
Okay.
And we also have an ego. And so an ego it's not entirely bad. We need an ego to have that confidence and that identity. But we don't want to be run by our egos.
Yep.
Because the ego oftentimes gets, again, influenced by fear. And so that's where we end up making choices in the frequency of shadow and fear.
Okay.
And so our goal is to become one with that I am presence and show up and make choices each and every day in that frequency of light.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that doesn't mean being perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But it's with the intention of learning and growing and evolving. And one of the reasons we're here is not only to learn our lessons, but we're here to teach others. It's pay it forward.
Right. Right.
And I write a whole chapter in my book on this. One of the important lessons is I am here to learn from others and I am here to teach others.
Exactly. Now, some of us that are listening to this show or reading your books or on a path of personal growth or spiritual development or a yogic path has even a mustard seed of a desire to learn and serve.
Mm-hmm.
Would you argue, I think I know the answer to this, but there's people out there that just are like totally not on that path.
Oh, for sure. There's
50% of the world.
And no judgment. Everyone's at where they're at. What I say.
So what is that? What is the deal with that soul's journey?
Usually these are beginner souls. These are souls who are in service to self, not in service to others or in service to source. And so the Wayne Dyers of the world, the more evolved souls, the Mother Teresa's are here truly humbly to serve others. How may I serve?
And to balance out.
Balance out. And
the chaos.
Exactly.
Now we're in a lot of chaos right now, right? So
there's a lot of chaos and it's real easy for well-intentioned, more advanced souls to get caught up in that if you're not using your tools.
Okay.
This is where it's imperative every day to find a practice that works for you, to use your spiritual tools, to come back to that I am presence, to remember we're all connected. Mm-hmm. We're all one.
Right.
And to get out of ego and to come back into that kind of unity consciousness. And not only how may I serve myself to do my work, be accountable, be a good human, make good choices, but then how may I use that to better the world, to serve others?
If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.